Okay, welcome to another episode of Stories from Physical Culture. I'm Pat Comer, your host, and today this will be part one of my stories about Sergio Olivia, the great Chicago bodybuilder. He was a Chicago police officer, and he is one of the greats in bodybuilding. Everybody knows Sergio. I'll show you what I have in the gym. This is Sergio. Can you see that? Oh, there it is. There he is. Sergio. And I also have a cool poster of Sergio. I like this poster because he's not posing, he's just walking. Let me see. There it is. Oh, I'm not real good at the camera. All right. And today, I am going to read from Sergio's book. Which is right here. Sergio Olivia, the myth, his story, and it's also an exercise book, tells you all the exercises, and it's pretty cool. They have all his contests here. He's Mr. Olympia, Mr. Universe, Mr. America, Mr. World, Mr. Olympus, Mr. Championship, Mr. Junior Mr. America, Mr. International, Mr. Galaxy, Mr. Pro World Cup, Mr. Chicago, Mr. Long Beach, Mr. Azteca International, and Mr. Illinois. And today, I'm going to read the Foreword by Robert Kennedy. Anyone who loves the sport of bodybuilding knows the name of Sergio Olivia, known as the Myth. I greatly admired him and consider him to be the all-time world's greatest physique. I saw him in competition many times, including his shows against Arnold. There is no doubt that with his wide shoulders and narrow hip structure, he was superior to any other bodybuilder of his generation. Sergio was not only the most aesthetic bodybuilder on stage, but also the biggest. In addition to his extraordinary physique, his special charisma would excite the audience into a frenzy of adoring fans. Few men could claim as much. He trained in his own way and knew exactly how he wanted to look. Sergio Olivia is considered by most to be the world's most genetically gifted bodybuilder. With his privileged genetics, he acquired an incredible physique that would inspire millions. It is a fact that Sergio Olivia's body made an impact in the world of bodybuilding forever. He set a whole new standard for competitive bodybuilding, loved by millions, revered by many, and feared by some. He was so huge and extremely proportioned that he used to bring chills to his adversaries. This is how he acquired the name of the Myth. Sergio Olivia's competitions were always heavily anticipated and full of electricity, many ending with controversial decisions, adding to the legend. At the time Sergio became involved with bodybuilding, civil rights issues were very intense in the United States, and thus reaching championship status was very difficult. However, against all odds, he was the first black athlete to win the IFBB Mr. America, Mr. World, Mr. Universe, and Mr. Olympia titles. He won the Mr. Olympia 3 times in 1967, 1968, and 1969. In fact, in 1968, Sergio made history when he won that title uncontested. Since then, history has never been able to repeat itself. In 1968, Dave Draper entered the Mr. Olympia, and when he saw Sergio in the prejudging, he just left. He just took off. He didn't want to compete against him. Now, Sergio has written his memoirs representing the golden era of bodybuilding. Some of the chapters in this book are about Sergio's childhood, how he developed his amazing physique, his thoughts about competition, posing, supplements, steroids, and nutrition. He also gets into the specifics of training individual body parts to obtain maximum results and much more. Sergio's long-awaited first book is definitely overdue and must-have for bodybuilding enthusiasts. And a must-have for bodybuilding enthusiasts. He is a genuine champion of the sport and one of its greatest legends, as Robert Kennedy, editor and publisher of Muscle Mag International. It's a good book. I recommend it. Tomorrow, this is the first bodybuilding magazine I ever bought. Bill Goslin told me to go buy it because of the article on Sergio. And it's a pretty long article. It's got him training and Chicago Duncan YMCA. I'll tell you about how I got introduced to Sergio. I was 12 years old, and I've been a fan ever since. But I'll tell that story tomorrow. You guys have a good day.